welcome back to my channel. My name's Sophie and today's video is going to be my first ever 24-hour reading challenge. So before I get into the video, please remember to like if you enjoy and subscribe to my channel for more bookish content, and let's get into the video. So like I said, in today's video I'm going to be attempting my very first 24-hour reading challenge. I've never done one of these before, but I've watched plenty of vlogs of people doing them and they just look really fun. So I'm going to do the version where I only count the reading time. I don't have it in me to stay up, you know, till God knows when in the morning. You know, hats off to people who do. Like, I'm a sleepy girl, I can't do it. So yeah, we're only going to count reading time and we're going to see how much I can get read. I'm hoping to maybe get like 4 or 5 books read, but like we'll see. First book I want to read, it's just going to be a mood reading vlog, there's no theme to this, but the first book I would like to read is Just for the Summer by Abby Jimenez. I've just finished reading a couple of fantasy series and I kind of just want something a little bit easier to start this challenge with. I just really want to read this one. So I really do love Abby Jimenez as an author. I've read I think 3 of her books now, so this will be my 4th, and yeah, I'm excited to delve into this one. So I will start reading, start the timer, and check back in with you guys when I've got a bit of an update for you. Okay, so we are 3 hours 50 minutes into the readathon. First of all, I don't know how you girls and boys, how you do these 24-hour readathons in like 2 days. Okay, I only started this last night, but I've only been reading for 3 hours and 50 minutes so far. So this is gonna like take me all week, but it's fine, we'll have fun. So 3 hours 50 minutes in, I have started and finished reading Just for the Summer by Abby Jimenez. 5 stars, easy 5 stars. So in this one we're following Emma and Justin. Justin posts on a Am I the Asshole Reddit thread, and he's basically asking, is he the asshole for naming his ugly dog after his friend Brad, who left him like with a lease on the apartment that he couldn't afford because he'd want to move in with his girlfriend, which actually turns out to be Justin's ex-girlfriend. Justin seems to have some kind of like curse. It's not a curse, but it just seems to be a coincidence that every woman he dates seems to then break up with him and then go on to find like the one. And he's posted about this instance on a Reddit thread, and our main character Emma, she finds the Reddit thread and she contacts him to say that he's not the asshole, and also she's got the exact same sort of scenario. Every man that she dates goes on to find the one. They contact each other, they start talking, and they decide to start like dating each other, and then just for the summer they'll go on 4 dates, have a kiss, and then they'll break up, and then they'll go on to find their soulmate. So they'll break each other's curses basically. So that's the general gist of this book. They've both got some stuff going on as usual in Abby Jimenez book, in the best way possible. Like, I don't begrudge it at all. So Daniel is going to become the guardian of his 3 siblings because his mum, she's going to be going to prison for embezzling money, and he's going to be taking like custody of his siblings in the meantime. Emma has a very traumatic childhood. Her mum abandoned her a lot, so she has attachment issues. She really doesn't like to stay in the same place for very long. So what happens is her and her friend Maddie, who's basically the only person she really lets in properly until Justin, her and Maddie, they do like 3 months sort of secondments to different places, and they take it in turns picking, and it's supposed to be Maddie's turn to pick. They're supposed to be going to Hawaii, but Emma begs her to basically go to Minnesota to be with Justin so that she can like break her curse and just see what happens there. So yeah, they go to Minnesota and they meet, they start fake dating, but then true feelings start to develop, and then a whole kind of lot of other stuff happens. Obviously you've got all the stuff going on with Justin's family, all of Emma's trauma going on as well. Her mum makes a reappearance and it just kind of throws her through a loop. Maddie is really Emma's best friend. Like, she is the one person in Emma's life who she can trust, and honestly if we can all have a friend like Maddie, I think we're doing really well in life. What I really love about Abby Jimenez books is you have the love story. Obviously the love story is like the main plot point, but you also have so much other stuff going on as well. Like I said, with like Justin's family issues and Emma's family issues, the side characters also play quite a big role in this as well. I'm not going to say how exactly this links to the first 2 books in the trilogy. I think that is a bit of a spoiler. Yeah, I just really love that, how it may not be like your family that are the best for you. Like for Emma, like parts of her family are good and parts of her family are not so good, and for Justin, like family is the most important thing to him. It's not a one size fits all kind of thing. Everyone has so much different stuff going on in their lives. And also, like, there was a really good quote at the end of this. Like, this just sort of really got me. It's like, the best kind of love doesn't happen on moonlit walks and romantic vacations. It happens in between the folds of everyday life. It's not grand gestures that show how you feel. It's all the little secret things you do to make her life better that you never tell her about. Taking the end piece of the bread at breakfast so she can have the last middle piece for a sandwich when you pack her lunch. Making sure her car always has gas so she never has to stop at the pump. Telling her you're not cold and to take your jacket when you are in fact very cold. It's watching TV on a rainy Sunday while she's doing laundry and turning her light off when she's fallen asleep reading. It's just like, yeah, yeah, you don't, it's nice to have grand gestures, but the everyday things are also just as important. And I think Justin and Emma just sort of being there for each other, and like Emma really does try to push Justin away quite a few points in this. She really doesn't want to let him in, and he wiggles his way in, and he's like, I care about you, why won't you let me care about you? And I just think it's like really sad that it's not Emma's fault what happened to her, but she has so many problems now due to it, and she really has to work on herself. And I think, yeah, it was just really quite deep, like most Abby Jimenez books are. But yeah, I really enjoyed this one. Also, the bloody dog is so cute. Just like all the family, the found family aspects of this, just really loved it, as usual with the Abby Jimenez book. I love a good romance, don't get me wrong, I love that, but I also love when there's other stuff going on as well, and it just kind of shows that, yeah, maybe right person, wrong time, you know, but maybe you will find your way back to each other, and work on yourself, work on being like the best version of yourself, or the best version of yourself that you can be, and just let people love you, you know. Love this one, absolutely love this one. 5 stars, easy 5 stars for me. So after the emotional damage that Just for Summer caused me, I am going to now read a thriller. So I've read one of these authors' books before and gave it 5 stars, so I'm going to go with The Girls Who Disappeared by Claire Douglas. I read The Couplet Number 9 by Claire Douglas I think last year, and I gave it 5 stars, really loved it. So I'm gonna give another one of hers a go. I just need something like full of murder and things like that. Not necessarily murder, I just need something that's not gonna like make me cry, basically. So yeah, let's get reading this one. Okay guys, so it's been 2 hours and 50 minutes of reading time, and I have started and finished reading The Girls Who Disappeared by Claire Douglas. I'm going to be giving this one a 4-star rating. So the premise of this one is that we're following our main character Jenna, and she is a struggling reporter. She's doing a podcast regarding the disappearance of some girls in a small town. So it's the 20-year anniversary of the accident. So the accident involved a girl called Olivia, her 3 friends Tamsin, Sally and Katie. They were all in a car together. There was an accident, and then when Olivia came round, her leg was trapped against the steering wheel, and there's no sign of the other girls, and they have not been seen since. So Jenna comes to the town to make a podcast about the disappearance of the 3 girls, and maybe just to draw a light on what happened and see if anybody remembers anything. And there's a lot of secrets in this town that people want to stay buried. Don't appreciate Jenna sort of sticking her nose in and uncovering secrets that they don't want uncovered. So obviously this is a thriller, so there's lots of twists and turns in this one. I really did enjoy this one. I gave this one 4 stars. It was a really quick read for me. Yeah, this was a fun thriller. I did think in the middle it was a bit slow at parts. We also follow another sort of, there's a few flashbacks to another group of friends, and we don't really know how they tie in obviously until near the end, but that was a really good twist, I thought. And yeah, I just think you're led to believe sort of one thing. You think, did Olivia know what happened to her friends? Everyone seems to think that she knows what happens and that she's hiding things, and actually she's just like a damaged, well, she's 39 years old at the point of this book, but she's really just a damaged young girl who's suffering through a lot of trauma. And yeah, I think it's just her and Jenna seem to like spark up an unlikely friendship, considering that they sort of seem to get off on the wrong foot, and I do like how this resolved. I do think maybe the ending was not anticlimactic, but you could kind of put it together, like it wasn't really that much of a mystery. Like I didn't guess it, but when it was explained I was kind of like, oh yeah, like why didn't I see that? That was kind of obvious, but not in a way that I was like, oh my god, why didn't I see that? It was just like, oh yeah, that's kind of obvious. Like if I was using any of my brain cells, I'd have figured that out for myself. But yeah, I did really enjoy this one. This is exactly what I needed. I wanted something sort of fast paced, but I didn't really have to think too much about, and that kept me on my toes. And this definitely delivered. And yeah, I'm definitely still going to check out more of Claire Douglas's works. This was really good. So the next book I'm going to be reading for this vlog is going to be Dark Star Burning Ash Falls White by Emily Wen Zhao. This is the second book in, I can't remember what the series is called, but the series is called The Song of the Last Kingdom duology. The first one was Song of Silver Flame Like Night. I read that one back in August last year and I really enjoyed it, and I got the sequel for Christmas, so I'm really excited to get reading this one. And I'm definitely in the mood for a fantasy, so yeah, I'll check back in with you guys when I've read this one. I can tell you a bit what it's about. So it's been just under 3 hours, 2 hours 55 minutes to be exact. I've got 15 hours 20 minutes left on the clock. I have started and finished reading Dark Star Burning Ash Falls White by Emily Wen Zhao. I'm going to give this one 4 stars. So I'm going to read the synopsis of the first book because I'm struggling to like summarize this very well. So in the first book, in a fallen kingdom, one girl carries the key to discovering the secrets of her nation's past and unleashing the demons that sleep at its heart. Once Lan had a different name. Now she goes by the one the Elantian colonizers gave her. She spends her days scavenging for remnants of the past, for anything that might help her understand the strange mark buried into her arm by her mother in her last act before she died. No one can see the mysterious mark until the night Zen appears at the tea house and saves her life. Zen is a practitioner, one of the fabled magicians of the last kingdom, whose abilities were rumoured to be drawn from the demons they communed with, magic believed to be long lost, magic to be hidden at all costs. Both Lan and Zen have secrets buried deep within. Fate has connected them, but their destiny remains unwritten. Both hold the power to liberate their land, and both hold the power to destroy the world. So that was the first book. In the second one, this is more focusing on like the demon gods and Lan and Zen sort of working together and almost against each other as well. They seem to not really trust each other much in this book, which was quite frustrating. I found that, like, again, I feel like a lot of this could be cut out and just put into that first book and rounded it up to like a 500-page book. It was a lot of the first part of this book was just them going back and forth as to whether they trusted each other, and then Lan suddenly forgiving Zen, and just, yeah, that got a bit tiring. But otherwise, I really enjoyed the plot of this one. I do think that it wrapped up really nicely. Nothing was sort of left undiscovered. Learned a lot more about some side characters as well, and it was really interesting to see people coming together, even though they may not agree on a lot of things, but they are definitely against the colonizers and against the oppression that these people are facing, and then all the different clans like working together when they would really be sort of fighting each other to take down sort of like this evil government kind of thing. So yeah, that was really interesting. Like, the characters were really cool. Like I said, the side characters were quite interesting. I was kind of more interested in them. I'd love a bit more backstory as to some of them. Either this could have been one long book, or if this was, you know, maybe this would have been stronger as a duology if we explored a bit more of the secondary characters rather than the primary characters. There was a lot of characters that were sort of introduced in the first book that we kind of lost track of in this one, and I do think it wrapped up quite quickly with regards to like the whole demon god. Obviously Lan has the mark on her arm in the first book, and we find out that it's all to do with like demon gods and things like that, and there's 4 of them in the world. I feel like that was wrapped up quite quickly, but otherwise I did really enjoy this one. It was a fun YA fantasy. It's a duology, so that's another series finished. But yeah, I did really enjoy this one. Definitely not as much as the first one, but I still had a fun time reading it. It was a really quick read for me as well, which is always appreciated. So yeah, that's another series done. So I think I'm going to move on to The Ruined by Renee Ahdieh. This is book 4 of the Beautiful Quartet, the Beautiful series. I have to be honest, I didn't really love the third one. So the first one I loved. I gave 4.5 stars. It was all about vampires in New Orleans and following this vampire clan in like the early 1800s. The second one was quite disappointing. The third one was just horrendous and went completely off track, and at this point I'm kind of like, I've got one book left. The third book was not very good, but it was a quick read, so I think maybe get this one done, get it back to the library, and then move on to something else. So I'm going to pick up this. I may also have on the side A False Start by Elsie Silver, just in case. When I read the third one of this, it was really starting to put me in a slump, so I think I might like read a bit of this one, read a bit of this one, read a bit of this one, just to keep me going. So those are kind of like the 2 books I'm going to be moving on to, but primarily this one. And we have 15 hours and 20 minutes left on the clock. Okay, so we've got 11 hours 20 minutes left on the timer, and I've made quite a bit of progress reading wise. So I am just under halfway through A False Start by Elsie Silver. I'll tell you a bit more about that one in a minute. And I have started and finished The Ruined by Renee Ahdieh, and I'm giving this one 2 stars. Honestly guys, just don't bother reading this series. It's not worth your time. So this starts out following vampires in New Orleans, so that's the whole concept of it. So much dust in this room. So that's not a spoiler at all. So we follow our main character Celine, and she is fleeing Paris. She travels to New Orleans and she makes some friends on the ship called Pippa. They arrive in New Orleans. They live in this like women's boarding house, and they come across sort of some mysterious people who they assume to be vampires, and it's not confirmed until the end of the first book whether they are or are not vampires, who is a vampire, who isn't a vampire, kind of thing. And then we kind of go from there. Then the rest of the series just isn't really about that. So the first book I gave a 4.5 star, I really enjoyed it, and then had high hopes for the rest of the series. Book 2 was just nothing happened. I gave it like a 3 star, and then book 3 and book 4 were just awful, actually, in my opinion. So book 3, we didn't even really follow our 2 main characters of Celine and Bastien. We just went on a complete, I don't know, other journey, and we ventured into the world of the Fae, which is fine. There's other magical creatures in here than just the vampires, but this was marketed as vampires in New Orleans, and like the last 2 books were all about the Fae, and I'm just kind of like, that's cool, like I kind of enjoy reading about the Fae, but like it's just so overdone. And these last 2 books really just felt like a Sarah J Maas book, and like not even in a good way. I do like Sarah J Maas, but like it was just done terribly, and I just think this series is just such, I'm really annoyed at this series. It just wasted my time. I wanted a great vampire series, you know, bring back the vampires, you know, and yeah, this was just horrendous. If I'm being completely honest, it was horrendous. It was a quick read. It's YA, it's a quick read. But like, I just was reading it and I was just like, I'm so bored. I'm so bored. The first book was so good. Like, I would recommend reading the first one and just not continuing. Third one was just like, okay, like maybe it's the second book in the series, maybe the third and the fourth will pick it up now. So the third book was just horrendous. This book was slightly better, but not even that much. It just was better in that it followed Celine and Bastien again. And then we just went in all sorts of different directions. There's so much unresolved. Like, there's a whole plot line about the werewolves that is just kind of left hanging. The battle, you know, the final battle, the final, just anticlimactic. Nothing really happened. I don't really know what this series, could I tell you actually what happened in this series? No, like, not a lot really happened. So yeah, that's a shame, but it's another series finished. Don't bother reading it, just read the first one if you're going to read it, and then just stop there. And then again, the ending of the third book, which made me, I was going to DNF the series, the ending of the third book, no relevance. I think she just put that in because she knew a lot of people were going to not continue the series, and she put that in to hook people back in. That's just another plot point that's just unresolved. Just like, oh, whatever, we're just supposed to like 4 books and there's so much unresolved. Like, are you kidding me? I'm just annoyed. I'm annoyed now. Anyway, I am halfway through A False Start by Elsie Silver, so this one is actually good. In this one, we're following Nadia and Griffin. So Griffin is Nadia's brother's best friend, and there's a 14-year age gap between them. But Nadia has like been through a lot of stuff. I hope if you're reading this book, you would have read the third book. But we find out a lot of stuff about what Stefan and Nadia went through, and so she's kind of like older and wiser than her years, and Griffin is very like hesitant to get involved with her. Like, they're both attracted to each other. They both know that they're attracted to each other's attracted to each other. Griffin doesn't want to act on it because of the age difference and because, you know, his brother, best friend's sister kind of thing. Sorry if you can hear all the kids outside. There's not really much I can do about that. This is what Violet and Cole's book wanted to be, and I said what I said. This is like yearning age gap, but done well. And like, Griffin is so like, he's like got time for nobody but Nadia, and it's just like fucking eating it up. Like, this is like Elsie Silver at Elsie Silver's best. Like, I was really not sure on this series. Like, I enjoyed the first one. The second one was like a 3-star for me, still good, but like not my favourite, considering I've given Elsie Silver 5 stars before. The third one was better. This is just like chef's kiss so far. So yeah, I'm gonna continue reading this one. I am reading on my Kindle, but I'll check back in probably like Friday now with an update on what I've read and got up to. So yeah, I'll speak to you later. So we have 10 hours and I think like 2 minutes left on the clock, and I've just finished reading A False Start by Elsie Silver. I gave this one 4 stars, I think maybe a 4.5 star. I did actually tear up at the end of this one. This is definitely my favourite in the Gold Rush Ranch series. You can see that Off to the Races, is it Off to the Races? Off to the Races was her first book ever written, and you can like see how far she's come in her writing. I mean, I've read Chestnut Springs first, which I think this is chronologically first. Yeah, this is my favourite in the series. I really liked at the end, so like Nadia and Griffin, they both had a lot to work on with themselves. They had a lot going on in their lives. Like, Nadia wanted to go to vet school and things, and I think it was really quite mature of both of them to be like, look, we both need to like work on ourselves before we can be in a relationship with each other. And then like they find their way back to each other. I was like, I didn't cry, I was like tearing up. Like, this really got me, this one. I don't know, like Nadia and Griffin, I just loved them as characters. I loved them together. I just loved how mature they both were, considering Nadia's like 21 years old, and at the end of the book when she graduates she's like 23, 24. Like, they're just both so mature, and just, yeah, I love this one. Love this one. So I'm going to go back to reading a fantasy. I'm going to read Arm of the Sphinx by Josiah Bancroft. Why do I really struggle to say that word? This is the second book in the Books of Babel series. I read the first one maybe like a year and a half ago, and this is the second one. I want to kind of like get finishing more series, and obviously that's a finished series. This is the second book in a series, and then like, you know, read the third and the fourth kind of thing, rather than just starting them and never continuing. So this is the second book in the Books of Babel series. So we follow our main character Senlin. In the first one, Senlin ascends. Him and his wife have just gotten married, and they go on honeymoon to the Tower of Babel. Shortly after they arrived, his wife goes missing, and then he has to basically traverse the tower's different levels in the tower in order to find his wife. And I think we got like 3 or 4 levels up when the first one ended, and I can't really remember too much of what happened, but I don't really think this is the kind of fantasy that I need to like remember everything. It's kind of like a low-key fantasy rather than like a really intense fantasy. So I really did enjoy the first one. I don't know why it's taken me so long to read the second book, but yeah, really excited to get into this one, and I'll check back in with you guys when I've got a bit of an update for you. I'm so sorry about the lighting in some of these clips. Like, now that the clocks have gone forward, whenever I try and do an update on an evening, the sun is just like right in my face, so I had to like close the blind, put the light on. Like it's actually only like 5:30. Anyway, I've been reading for maybe like half hour or so, and I have decided to DNF this series. I got maybe like 40 pages in, and I just thought I'm actually really not interested in this series anymore. I think I read the first one back in like 2023, and then it's not because I didn't continue, because I do sometimes, you know, leave gaps between continuing series, or like when books take a while to release, there is a bit of a gap, and it's not that. I just thought I don't care, and it's more like a whimsical fantasy, and I've realised that I'm really not into that. And I know this is like a really beloved series, and the writing is good, don't get me wrong, the writing's really good, like the story is good, it's just not my cup of tea, and that's okay. Like I don't want to push through this and just end up not enjoying it, because I'll just give it like a poor rating, and it's not a reflection of the book, it's just my tastes are different. I know what I like in fantasy now, and it's not this. So yeah, I am going to be DNFing this series. I'm really not sure what I want to pick up next, so it's between Cursebound by Sarah L. Arifi. This is the second and final book in the Feybound duology. This has only just come out. And then we have Vilest Things by Chloe Gong. This is the sequel to Immortal Longings, which is like a Cleopatra and Antony retelling, I think. I kind of feel like I should read this one because I've had it longer than this one. Yeah, let's go for this one. Follow Calla and August. Calla is the heir to the throne of this city, and her tyrant uncle has been on the throne. And then August, I can't really remember his backstory. Anton. It's Anton and August. I'm getting a bit confused about who's who. Maybe I'll have to read a quick synopsis of the first one before I go into this one. Tell you what, I'll start reading this one, and then I'll come and give you a proper synopsis of what's going on. So we've got about 8 hours and 15 minutes left on the clock. I'm just over 130 pages through Vilest Things by Chloe Gong. So in Immortal Longings, we follow Calla, we follow August, and we follow Anton. Those are the three main characters. Calla is the supposed to be queen. So her parents were the king and the queen. They were murdered supposedly by Calla. Calla was then basically on the run because people thought that she killed her parents. I won't say like, I think you could probably kind of guess what happened. So her uncle was then crowned king as regent, and then her cousin August is the next in line to the throne. Anton is the son of a noble like couple who live in the palace. So there's a lot of noble people that live in the palace with the royal family. Anton's parents, something happened and they were like exiled, and so was Anton. So Calla and Anton are exiled, living on different identities, and then August is in the palace as heir to the throne, and Calla's uncle is the king. And I think every year these like games are hosted where basically last one standing wins the money, wins a trip to see the king. I don't know if they win something else. Calla and Anton enter, obviously not as themselves, as other people, because they both want to meet the king. Calla wants to kill him and claim her throne back, and I can't remember why. And I think there's like a cash prize, and Anton wants to win the cash prize because his love is in hospital in a coma with something called the Yassi sickness. So the Yassi sickness, I think if I remember correctly, comes from, so basically in this world you can like jump into another body. So that's how Calla and like that are able to live under different identities, is that they can jump into another body, and then you just got like these two sort of souls in the body. It's something called like ki. So you've got like two souls in the body, and they can like fight each other for control, and if you jump in, like you're in control, but the other person can like fight back. And then I guess if you've been in this body for a certain number of years, you're more powerful than the original soul, etc. And then at the end, obviously we get to like the end of the games, and a lot of stuff happens, and then this book is the repercussions of what's happened. She does a really good job of reminding you of like where everyone is in this start of the book, and like important things that happened in the previous book, or important revelations that I had actually forgotten about. And then as soon as I read, I was like, oh yeah, like duh, I remember that now. But yeah, this is really, really good so far. Chloe Gong is a really, really good writer. We're 138 pages in, and we're like straight back into it. There's nothing, like she doesn't waste words. Like she really like keeps everything moving, and I think having the different perspective in this book and the previous book really keeps the plot moving very well. It's a really interesting world, really interesting like magic system, if you can call it magic system. Like the whole concept of jumping into different people's bodies really interesting, because everyone's like, oh, can you trust that person? But then it's like, can you trust you? Like, can you trust me? Like, can I trust you? Like, you know, like you've got people that jump into other people's bodies and are pretending to be that person, and then they like suspect someone else of doing the same thing, and they're like to the I don't think you can trust her, you know, she might not be who she is, even though they're the one that's like not the person, if that makes sense. It's just so cool, so good. And also I'm loving the like Cleopatra and Antony retelling. At this point in the book, I don't want to go too much into the plot because I don't want to spoil anything that happened, but the games were in the previous book, there's no more games, and it's just the aftermath of that with our characters being where they are. Let's just say, I'm not going to say who's where, who's who kind of thing. Otter Avia is Anton's love, and she's been in this coma for 7 years. years, and then suddenly she's just back. Like, she's cured, and there's supposed to be no cure for this sickness, and then she's just fine. So we're going to find out what exactly has happened to her. Why is she back? I don't want to give away too much of the plot, but basically how are we going to get to the end of this book? Like, what is actually going to happen? Because I've got no clue. Yeah, like, there's just so many deceptions, so much going on. Yeah, it's just really, really good, really, really gripping. And yeah, I would highly recommend this series if you haven't read it. I haven't really heard too much about it on BookTube. I think a lot of people rave about These Violent Delights by Chloe Gong, which is another really good series, a YA fantasy series that she wrote. That's really good as well. I haven't read the sequel series to that. This one is her adult fantasy series, and it's absolutely amazing. So yeah, I'm gonna read a bit more and check back in with you guys probably when I'm done now. So we've got 6 hours 10 minutes left on the clock, and I have now finished Vilest Things by Chloe Gong. I was about to say Immortal Longings, but that's the first book. I for some reason thought this was the third book, or like this, I thought it was a duology, but it's actually the second book in a trilogy. The third one comes out next year. I don't know why I thought that. I think I was getting myself confused, but I really enjoyed this one. So I gave a sort of brief synopsis of the plot in my previous update, but yeah, I really enjoyed this one. It was getting near the end, and I was kind of like, are we going to wrap this up? We're going to wrap this up. Like, how are we moving the plot forward here? Like, what is going to be happening in the third book? But it all became clear. I do think Chloe Gong is setting us up for a really cool, epic conclusion to this series. I'll be really excited to read that when it comes out next year. So yeah, 4 stars for this one. Really, really enjoyed this one. Really unique fantasy world, like really well explained. Yeah, I just really, really enjoyed this one. Highly recommend checking it out if you haven't already. So because we've got about 6 hours left on the clock, I'm going to sort of tandem read like 2 books. So I'm going to pick up One by One by Frida McFadden. This is a very short thriller book. I really do enjoy Frida McFadden's writing, and her thrillers are always really quick to get through. And this one's like 250 pages, this one. So yeah, this won't take me long to read at all. And then, because I'm not really sure what mood I'm in, hence why I'm going to sort of read 2 books and just see which one sort of takes my fancy. I am going to pick up Calamity by Brandon Sanderson. He's one of my favourite fantasy authors. This is the 3rd book in the Reckoner series, so finishing a series. It's one of my favourite authors. I'm really enjoying this series so far. So this one is following like superheroes, but are they heroes, are they villains kind of thing. If you've watched The Boys on Amazon Prime, it's kind of like that. So in the first one, Steelheart, our main character David, he's out on like a revenge quest. He wants to kill Steelheart because Steelheart murdered his father, and then we kind of go from there. In the second book, we're sort of uncovering more sort of like supervillains, superheroes kind of things, and you know, trying to rid the world of the villains, if that makes sense. But yeah, it's a really, really cool series, really, really interesting, and yeah, I'm really excited to read the 3rd book in this series. So yeah, those are the 2 books I'm going to be reading. I have no idea what this one's about, by the way. I kind of like that with my thrillers. I just sort of pick them up and see where the journey takes me. So yeah, so I'm just coming in to wrap this reading vlog up. There is just under an hour left on the timer, but I don't really think I can start and finish a book in less than an hour. So I did finish reading Calamity by Brandon Sanderson. I'm going to give this one maybe a 3.5, maybe a 4 stars. I'm not quite sure how I feel about this one. So I really enjoyed like the whole ride of this book. The whole concept is really fun and like really interesting. I just felt like the ending was a bit like there was a lot of conveniences, and it sort of wrapped up a bit too conveniently, a bit too quickly. They almost had it a bit too easy, considering they're up against, you know, these superheroes with amazing powers and stuff. So yeah, I did enjoy the ride. This was a fun read, but I don't think it's not as deep as, you know, his other works, and that's okay. It's just a bit of fun. So I'm kind of like trying to remember that it's not that deep. This one was really good end to the series, and I would highly recommend reading the series if you haven't. If you're a Brandon Sanderson fan, or you want to get into Brandon Sanderson, you perhaps don't know where to start, maybe give this series a go. It's not part of the Cosmere as far as I'm aware. It's a good introduction to his writing. I will say another thing that annoyed me is the amount of like puns and stuff in this book was just getting ridiculous. Like, I don't even know if it's puns. It was just sort of, yeah, it was just getting really annoying. I was just rolling my eyes at them each time. So I think maybe a 3.5. Like, this was fun, but yeah, it wasn't my favourite Sanderson book. Definitely not my favourite Sanderson series, but I'm still really glad I read it because I did really enjoy it, and I really enjoyed how each book almost wrapped up itself separately, so you could almost read the first one as a standalone if you didn't want to continue. Really, really enjoyed this one. So that's another series completed. And then I did start and finish One by One by Frida McFadden. God, this really did not take me long to read at all. So in this one, it's a thriller, and we're following 6 characters, mainly our main character Claire, her husband Noah, and then their friends from college, Jack, Michelle and Lindsay. And then Lindsay's got a new boyfriend called Warner, although Michelle wasn't really part of the college friendship group. She's Jack's wife. Claire and Noah are having some marital problems, and they're all going away, the 6 of them, to this cabin, this inn, to have a like, you know, hiking weekend and things like that. And yes, so we go from there. They're all in the van together, and then things start to go wrong, and then one by one they all start dying. So I'm not going to say anything more than that really. I actually really enjoyed this thriller book. I found the whole like the aspect of them in the woods sort of being picked off one by one, you didn't know who was next, how they were going to die. That was really, really creepy, atmospheric, really interesting. And yeah, just the sort of the relationships that they all had together, because you think that they're all really friendly, apart from Warner, who's sort of newish to the group. You think they're all quite friendly and things like that, but actually there's, you know, a lot of things going on behind the scenes, a lot of things that get revealed throughout the book, and you just sort of think, oh, who could it be? You can sort of trust no one. Like, we're following our main character Claire, it's her perspective, and then we have an anonymous perspective who is telling us about their sort of troubled childhood and basically how they've probably turned into this killer, but we don't know who the killer is until obviously the very end. Frida really tries to like guide you into a certain direction, and every single time I follow it and I'm like, yeah, I've cracked this, I know the twist, I know who it's going to be, and then every single time she like blows out the water. Yeah, she's really just really good at putting breadcrumbs in to lead you off of what's actually the truth about, you know, who the killer is or whatever. So yeah, this one was really, really fun. It was super, super quick, really atmospheric, really creepy. I haven't read like a thriller like this in a long time. I've read a lot of like domestic psychological thrillers lately. So yeah, this one was a real change of pace, really good change of like environment and stuff. And yeah, there was just so much going wrong, and you're sort of reading from these characters, like Claire's perspective, you just think, oh my god, don't be so daft, don't be so silly. Like, how can you trust this man that you've just met? Like, can you even trust your husband, kind of thing? Like, yeah, really, really good. Highly recommend. I gave this one 4 stars. I don't think it's like the best thing ever written, but for me it was a fun ride and it was exactly what I needed, because I did feel myself getting a bit slumpy finishing so many series and just putting pressure on myself to read so much. I was kind of like, I just need something that's like doesn't require a lot of brain capacity and that's gonna like keep me hooked, and this was definitely it. So yeah, really, really enjoyed this one. Highly recommend Frida McFadden if you want like a quick fun thriller. So yeah, that's all the books that I read in this reading vlog. So my god, I don't think I'm ever going to do a 24-hour reading on again. It took me so long. No, I'm not going to write it off. It was fun, but it's a lot of pressure. I don't know how you guys are able to do it in like 3 days, because like I need to take a break. So like I finish a book and then I need like a 2-hour break before I can like pick something else up. Otherwise it all just gets muddled in my head. I think every book bleeds into one. So the fact that people can just pick up another book straight away just blows my mind. So like that's what took up a lot of the time, is like I'd finish a book and then like 2 hours of the day I was doing something else, and then picked up another book, and then a couple of hours each day lost of reading. But yeah, either way, I think this was a success with 24 hours reading time. I read so much. I am quite a fast reader, but yeah, I really, really enjoyed doing this, even though it felt like it was a lot of pressure. But yeah, that's going to be it for today's video. Comment down below and let me know if you do 24-hour readathons regularly. Let me know any tips or tricks you have. Let me know if you've read any of these books. Let me know what you think. Please remember to like this video if you've enjoyed it, and subscribe to my channel for more bookish content, and I'll see you in the next one, guys. Bye.